Good to see you again. Come on in. I've been dying for you to get here so we can get started. Got a great show lined up today. Take a look at this lot. I've got an unusual way to create crazy hairstyles. And check out this very musical Big Art Attack. And can't decide whether to colour in or paint? Here's how to do both. Here's a good art attack, and it's great fun to do. Just take 5 or 6 photos. Now, they don't have to be great shots of anything in particular, but the funnier the better, because the idea is to turn them into a story. How? With a photo story frame. Look at this. This one's called Day of the Dog.
I'm sure I can hear something.
Suddenly...
Coming through! Out of my way! Oh no, please don't hurt me.
But it was the fine cake Bonzo was after. Full tummy. The end! Good, eh? And it's simple to make in 4 easy parts. A 4-part attack. For the first part, you need to pick 6 photos. Then, turn them into a story by using speech bubbles and action boxes. Now, the way to create a story is to think about what goes in the bubbles. What are the characters saying or doing? In this one, well, it looks like he's looking at something above him, so maybe he can be saying, "What's that up in the sky?" And in this one, it looks like they're big and they're looking down, so they could be saying, "It's us, the Laughing Giants." Now, the story doesn't need to be complicated, it just needs to be funny. And when you've got a rough idea, you'll know how many speech bubbles and action boxes you'll need. To make speech bubbles, take some cardboard box card and draw an oval shape with a little pointy bit to show who's talking. Cut it out and paint it white. Then write on whatever the characters are saying in black pen. This one's saying, "Quick, run, ag!" You can also make rectangular instruction boxes, zigzag ones for loud voices, and cloud shapes for thinking bubbles. OK, so how's our story going? It was an ordinary day, but then... Ooh, what's that up in the sky? It's us, the Laughing Giants. Ho, 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 ho. Oh, quick, run, ah! Looking good so far, but before you stick any of this down, you need to make a frame. Arrange your photos at jaunty angles onto a large piece of cardboard box card in the order of your story. Draw around them in pencil and use the pencil marks as a guide for your frames. Draw the line for your frames a little inside your guidelines. Make the frame any shape you like as long as it's within these guidelines. And when you're happy, cut the inside of the frames out. Now, the easiest way to cut a shape out of the middle of your work is to punch a hole with a sharp pencil into some modelling clay. This then allows you to get your scissors in, and it makes cutting out a lot easier. When you've cut them all out, paint your frame. I'm starting here with white. And when you finish painting your frame and it's dry, you'll have something like this. And I've gone round all of the shapes with a white border and put in a grey background, and I've added on some detail in black pen just to make everything stand out and look a lot more comic-like. Now all you need to do is put everything together. Turn your frame over and tape your photos into place, making sure they're in the right order. Then turn it back over and arrange all your speech bubbles and action boxes to make your story. Sticking them halfway onto the photo looks good. And don't forget to make sure the pointy bits of the speech bubbles are coming from the right person. And when you're happy with the position of everything, glue them down. And when it's all done, there you have your photo story. And if you like, you can paint and cut out a title for your story and glue that on too. This is called A Giant Adventure.
It was an ordinary day, but then...
What's that up in the sky?
It's us, the Laughing Giants. Oh, oh, oh.
Quick, run! Ah!
But then...
If only a hero could save us. Time for me to turn into Super Pirate.
Car me hearty! Ha ha!
And the giants ran away. Quick, Leggy. The end.
And even if you don't want to create a story, a photo story frame is a great way of livening up any photos you have. And you could do any comic style you like. How about a spooky Halloween comic? Or even a holiday summertime special photo frame. Try it yourself. Turn some random photos into a story and make a photo story frame.
Hello.
Ah, yes. I love street buskers and artists, don't you? It's great to hear live music floating through the air as you're out and about in the town. These two buskers looked and sounded very nice, but I wonder what they'd look like after an Art Attack makeover. Let me explain. Watch this.
Oh,
Have you ever done a picture and you can't decide whether to colour it in with paint or with your crayons? Well, sometimes it helps to use both. Here's a picture I've done of a dog who's lost its ball in a tree. Now, I've started to fill in the shapes with paint, but it's not working very well. There's too much detail for me to paint. There's the leaves and the bark on the tree, the grass, even the dog's hairy coat. Don't fancy doing that lot. That is where my crayons come in. So, OK, let's start with the tree. Now, I've painted the basic brown colour and it's nice and dry now, so let's add some wispy black lines to create the bark. And don't forget, the trees have holes in them, so I'm going to put a hole in the tree there. And some lighter shading on the bark. Yeah, now that's created a good bark effect. That'd have been a nightmare to paint. So, OK, what about the leaves on the tree? It'd also be another nightmare to paint each individual leaf, and I'm certainly not going to draw them with my pencil crayons. This time, I'm going to use a stiff brush that's very dry. I'm going to dip it into a slightly darker shade of green and dab most of it off till you get these dots. And then stipple on your leaves. It saves hours. And again, use different shades of green this time. And dab it off. So you've got a nice dry brush, and on it goes. And use the same technique for the leaves on the bushes. Now, for the dog's coat, how would you fancy painting each hair individually? No, neither do I. Back to the pencil crayons. Just use a colour that's slightly darker than the paint you've used to block in and hint at the lines of the hair or fur. And again, add in a few lighter and darker shades. And if you've got a nice big set of pencil crayons, you may have several shades of green, great for grass. Now, you can use them all together or individually. Watch this, all together. Yeah, this really saves you some time. Or you can use them individually to pick out little bits of detail. And finally, you can even use your pencil crayons to just shade in on top of your paint itself. A little bit of shade around there. And how's about a final highlight on the top there. Just a delicate highlight. And that's it. It's not a painting. It's not a crayon picture. It's both put together, a sort of crayon-ting. Try it yourself. Paint your picture in simple blocks of paint and add on the detail with pencil crayon when it's dry. A crayon-ting. Yeah, I love this part of the show. Time to look at some of your art attacks. And do you know what? There's one word to describe them. Absolutely fantastic. Eh? 2 words. Whatever. They're in the art attack gallery. Yes. Now, I love this style of art attack, Sophie. Your image is very simple with minimal shapes and colours, but the finished result is just as effective. Stunning. Now this is a very cute art attack that Katie's made. With that big orange beak and its black body, there's no mistaking this is a blackbird. And Charlotte's painting of the spinning teacups at the fair is really bold and bright, isn't it? And what a good idea to pick out the detail with a thinner brush. Yeah, fantastic painting, Charlotte. I do loads of painting too, and you know what? When I'm doing paintings, I always look after my best friend. And here he is, my paintbrush. Why? Because if you don't, he'll end up like this. Look at that, oh dear. All those bristles splayed out. And if you try painting with a brush like this, look at that. Ugh, awful, not very good at all. Or he could end up looking like that. Look at that, paint stuck on the end, all clogged up. No way can I paint with this one. Or look at this one. This one has been left standing in the water and now the tip's all bent. Can't paint with that. It's like painting round corners. And it's such a shame because it's so easy to look after them. Just check this out. Simply rinse it off in clean water when you finish with it, or run it under the tap, and then stroke off any excess water on some kitchen towel, and finally just tease it back into shape like that. Look at that. Perfect. Or if your paintbrush is really clogged up with paint, squeeze some washing up liquid into the palm of your hand, make little circular movements to get between all of those bristles, then again do the rinse and the wipe. And don't forget, rinse your hands off as well, clogged up with paint. So remember, wash your brushes as soon as you finish painting. Don't leave them standing in the water. Look after your best friend. So where were we? Oh yes, now this is a funky abstract piece by Francis, and I think it looks very cubist in its style. And with all those shapes and patterns, there's just so much to look at. Brilliant. Now Jenny's original piece is made entirely out of material. She's decorated it using a variety of processes such as tie-dye, batik and coloured thread. Nice one. Great art attack, Jacob, and what a brilliant idea to use torn strips of tissue paper to show the difference between the sky, sea and sand. And Benjamin's art attack has really crazy hair, which is created by twisting coloured twists of paper and using a similar method for the facial features. Brilliant. Really love that crazy paper hairstyle, Benjamin. Totally mad. Hey, and it's inspired me to come up with my own totally mad hairstyle using this stuff, pasta. You can get pasta in all sorts of shapes with all sorts of fancy Italian names like fusilli and tagliatelle, and it's perfect for crazy hair. Draw a face onto some card and make it nice and cartoony and funny. And you can colour it any way you like, but don't give it any hair. Then arrange your pasta shapes around the face into a fun hairdo. Now this type makes great curly hair. Just push it into place. Don't forget, you're the hairdresser. And when you've found a good hairstyle for that pasta, glue the pasta into place. Now it can be a bit fiddly to do, so take your time. And when it's dry, you can paint it any colour you like. I'm going to paint this hair a bright orange. Now it's best to use acrylic paint for this as it sticks to the pasta brilliantly. Just push the paint down into all those twisty pasta shapes. And when you finish painting your pasta hair and it's dry, it looks something like this. Good, isn't it? Now look, do me a favour, don't go taking pasta out the cupboard without asking first. I know it's only a little bit, but always ask. And it's not only this curly fusilli type of pasta that looks good. How about spaghetti spikes? Or curly whirly conjiggly? Or how about spaghetti straight hair?
Or even a tagliatelle top knot?
Or even just a farfalle bow. Try it yourself, pasta hairstyles.
Listen up for more fun with Martha Speaks.
Can you help me get dinner? You.
Word Girl.
Good work, Word Girl.
Watch Martha Speaks at 6 and Word Girl at 6:30 Tuesdays and Thursdays on TVO Kids.
Name that book!